People that want to work, willing and able to work on the roads.
Well, some of us don't know what else to do.
Great, buddy. Look, we gotta go on vacation.
Some of us
There
don't.
it comes.
Okay. Ready? Yeah. Here we go. Perfect.
It's a pleasure.
And a privilege.
Let me make sure I'm not trapped here to get up front.
Yeah, you'll need to check in.
There we go. Okay, I'm good to go.
All right.
I thought I'd have to do this at a police station.
It's not too late.
Next time I have to do this, I thought it was for sure going to be it.
Let's be glad that you're not.
Yeah,
Yes.
hold off on that for a little longer.
Because
At least today.
those
Hey,
egg
let's
sucking
get this
dogs.
done and then do something else.
Those egg sucking dogs are never fun.
Been there. It's not that much fun.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Here we go.
what's the thing? We're going to ask a question. You asking questions or we just bullshit?
We're just bullshitting. But I got two mics. They're
Yep.
pretty good, but I figured that way, I'll do the introduction.
I'll be loud.
On today's episode of the Spencer Covey Show, we have Jack Wilkin, Al Weener, and Patrick Tracey here in the famous Sandbar. And we're going to be telling some stories. Who wants to start first? Here, you want to just keep these out of the things? I'll do one of these. Or you got, okay, well, Jack, you're closest.
Oh, I am.
What's the first time you came to the Sandbar?
I believe I was in the 6th grade, and my friend's dad would pick us up from Boy
Grade school.
Scouts,
Yeah.
and he would have to stop here on the way home. And
Get steady.
it was very interesting. It was an education.
This is
It's
the
my mom and my boss.
Hey. First time I walked in here, I think Bill just bought the place, and it seemed like from the other Bill. I think there was another Bill.
Sandbar Bill, yeah.
Yeah, Sandbar Bill.
The first.
Yeah, right. Yep. And this wasn't this a barber thing in here?
No, that was down
At
the
some
street.
point.
That
Oh,
was down
No,
the
there was
street.
both happened, I believe.
Oh.
Bill Schumacher's father had the one down the street.
Yes,
Oh,
he did.
Well,
Bill the Butcher.
all right. Well,
Well, I always heard that my family, that's what we were started talking
Yeah.
about this, my great aunt, brothers,
close family. Yeah.
before Bill got this,
Yeah.
this was a place where during Prohibition they would come and collect the money because they hid all the booze because the cops knew. So
Yeah.
they hid all the booze and beers and kegs at somebody else's farms.
Fantastic.
At different farms around town,
Mhm.
and then they would meet here after the cops, gave up,
Yeah.
and then they would distribute and pay everybody. And evidently, for some reason, people liked my uncles that some of them had a infamous,
Personality?
yeah, well, more of reputation, I would say. They were said as to be whatever you call it, alleged gangsters, I guess.
Well, you know,
But when I was
they had gang on their title.
I had 21, and Pete was here. I had known Pete because I always tried as a kid coming to Saugatuck every year of my life. I would try to sneak in and play pool or whatever, just try to run through until I got yelled at. But and I didn't like Saugatuck as much when I was an adolescent because the beach wasn't cool and video games weren't cool and I didn't know anybody.
Outside had bugs.
Yeah, it was sandy and mosquitoes that were everywhere, and you had to do chores. It was horrible.
And you were already an old soul, apparently.
Well, but then I turned 21 and I got to go be and party at the Bolton House.
Oh.
My dad let me go up there from time to time, and then I'd throw parties and throw boats down the river and maybe have a couple of beers and come see Uncle Pete.
All right.
Fantastic.
Well, I remember the drinking age turned 18 and things changed, and I was 18, just happened to be 18.
And I scooted through that too.
Yeah. And I think I slept behind,
Here, well.
slept on the ground and behind, over by the tennis courts and, hippie stuff,
I think I accidentally did that once in front of the White House.
Yeah.
We'll do the round robin.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'll just try to talk loud, I guess.
He's got a good voice. You got to capture
Yeah.
I heard I had a face for radio.
All right.
That's one of Al's jokes there. About me, that is.
I don't know if we have time for jokes, but Jack.
Sandbar, I was just surprised because I'd already known Bill and Irene.
Yeah, he was a pretty good
And-
bass player.
Bill what?
Excellent
Yeah.
bass player. I
Oh, yeah.
played music with Bill.
One hell of a bowler, I heard, too.
But he
What's the name of his band?
well, he worked with the Josh Wind Trio. And I started playing with Josh Wind when I was like 16. And,
Josh Wynn.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
We were close.
Oh, Josh.
If I
Josh Wynn was a fantastic musician. Dutch guy, pretty good tennis
From the
player.
Netherlands.
Yeah, Netherlands, yeah.
He was on the Davis team for the Netherlands.
Oh, I didn't know that. And he actually played with Django Reinhardt when he was
Wow.
really super young. And he was a real character. He used to play the boathouse. He'd play piano, and it could keep like ping pong balls in the air, shooting them out of his mouth.
What?
Yeah, he could play piano.
Catch him again?
I'll be right
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
He would put 3 in his mouth.
Oh.
Otterbach.
And he'd shoot one out and he'd bounce it off his forehead and then catch it with his mouth.
Yeah. All right.
And if you've ever tried to put one ping pong ball in your mouth, it hurts.
Yeah, and he could play fiddle. He could play.
He swung on fiddle.
Okay.
Yeah, he was an amazing musician.
But that was his first instrument, like during World War II when the Netherlands occupied
Yeah.
the Nazis, and he played in a Django type band, and when they were allowed to do it for the Nazis, they would ferry between the nearby countries at
the
different
Netherlands?
theaters.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But then every once in a while they'd be waylaid by the Nazis and forced to work for them, and these were young jazz guys, and they would piss them off because they didn't pay them any money
What year is this?
during World War II.
Yeah, and his first name was Joss, Joss. Yeah. Anyway, Dutch guy.
And he found his way over here? Evidently?
Like
Yeah.
a lot of people did.
Yeah,
Like a lot of Dutch did after World War II. I knew all these families that
yeah.
immigrated to the U.S. and
Getting out of the way of the McCarthy era.
that too.
You know, that was a big
But
thing.
it was
for
my
Saugatuck.
opinion. But these families moved here from the Netherlands and to Holland, Michigan, and they went, "Oh, you're those Dutch. We asked you to leave centuries ago."
What do you mean by that?
Well, there's the Dutch, and then there's the liberal Dutch. There's the church-going whatever. You don't want. I don't know.
You know more about
Yeah.
this.
No, I don't want to buy.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to go into it.
No.
I have a question for
Yeah.
you, Jack.
There.
What do you know about you knew my great aunt, right? You're a certain amount of age. She died in 91, I think. And I was born in 74.
She was
So
an
I came
original.
up here every year.
She was an original, and like I said, my sister raised her kids at a house on Francis Street. Right, to get to Marie's house, she had to go to Upper Spear Street.
Yeah.
But she would always go out walking, and just the way she dressed, the way she put on her makeup, everything. She was just such an original. But she was just so kind to the children around that neighborhood.
Yeah, I heard a couple friends had said that when people for chores, she'd give you the quarter instead of the dime. Everyone else would give you a dime. And she'd give you the quarter.
But if she was out walking, she'd stop, and if the kids were outside, she'd stop and talk to them, and they knew her.
Yeah, I heard from when all the Tracey boys, she was my great aunt. So
her name?
her name was Marie Bolton.
Marie Bolton.
I can't remember when she passed, or sorry, when she was born, but she was like 93 and she died at 91. Her
Whoa.
driver's license, Al, said that she was 82.
Never.
So there is some evidence of some crooked behavior somewhere.
That's understandable.
convenient paperwork.
The joke was all the people. There was a hairstylist who still did her hair when I moved here, and I met her or I talked to her the other day. Can't remember her name, but she, all the ladies knew about Anne Marie's hair. It was one piece of hair that was 93 years old. But she had this proud this thing and getting her hair done and going and she always had the jewelry and the hip clothes and she looked good.
But from her house, I mean, if she was going downtown to the post office, or I don't know where she went.
Post office, lady, women's club.
Yeah, okay.
Punks.
Get ice cream. She'd buy all the nephews cherry soda and basically parade us.
How many of them were you?
I'm the youngest of 4 boys.
Okay.
But
I
also
mean,
she wrote in the commercial record, right? For like
I believe so.
forever. Kit Lane said that Kit Lane wrote one of the books that has the stories about my family.
All right.
What?
Allegedly. My grandmother was a teacher, special head teacher in the Prohibition. Like,
really?
Crazy. Love you, dear. My Aunt Marie was like the debutante. She also taught in Chicago, but she loved Saugatuck. She tutored some local people. Who's the rich guys who live on the water? The kids.
Peterson?
No,
Denison.
Denison. She tutored the Denison boys.
Okay.
Denison.
That was the thing, and
Well, they were rather. They always seemed rather elitist, and I'm sure that wouldn't go very far with your aunt.
oh no, I think that they kissed her ass
Oh, okay.
because all I heard was great stories about that.
Oh, good.
And then when I moved here like 14 years ago, I would hear stories from the Denison boys themselves. Oh, we loved your aunt. You know, I'd walk around and I'd say, like last night when I said I'm Patrick Tracey, I'm Marie's nephew, you were like, oh, you know, I knew her, or I knew of her, you know, but you knew her. Like, you knew her.
You guys hang out?
Well, no, she was the old lady at the end of the street, and only in the summers.
But it seems like, I mean, from her house, she could have walked down those funny little stairs to go downtown, but she would prefer to walk around the block, and then she'd stop and talk to
I remember those stairs. I barely, but I remember when we would go fishing, she was very, you know, whatever, lady. I don't know how to say it, but no fish could come past those stairs. So you gotta gut it and clean it and get rid of that shit before you got past those stairs. I remember cleaning fish on top of the stairs as a kid.
Particular?
Yeah, she didn't want fish guts around.
Yeah, I mean, that's reasonable.
There were some pictures of like 150 perch when the old boys, the uncles, stream across the whole house. They just go, you know, get on a boat and bring them all up.
I worked on the boats for a bit. I just out of high school trawling for alewives on the Chambers Brothers.
You worked on the Chamber Brothers?
Yeah.
So I worked on Bob Peel's boat.
Oh yeah. Wow.
See, you guys are like real townies. You like grew up and like had the Saugatuck boats and this and that. My dad did that in the summers because right next to that big house, Jack, was my grandfather's wedding present to my grandmother. So it was like the gangs and then the unions. It was a combination of the Traceys were union organizers and the Boltons had some booze, I guess. I remember asking my Aunt Margie, were my uncles gangsters? And she said, no. Of course not at all.
Working men.
They had a couple kegs of beers every once in a while, and they ran a couple gambling games.
Yeah, that's not
But they were
deal.
not gangsters.
Oh God.
And I just believed it.
I don't know much more than you, except I've heard the term the Bolton Gang for years, and I mentioned to you that I knew Uncle Irv Caston, who I heard that he worked with them at times as a driver.
Yeah, a driver.
And he was also a fisherman. And I knew him very well, and now I wish I would have asked him more in-depth questions because
I think those guys were fishing in Chicago for kegs.
Yeah.
I got a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked.
we're speculating now.
Yeah, I think all these stories are just now, it's all speculation now, because my dad had some, but he never wanted to tell us. We were raised in Bloomington, Indiana, because we were not to be in Chicago. My mom didn't want her kids dead.
It's probably a good place to not die, Indiana.
Yeah, I grew up walking around the woods with my Labrador Retriever going, what do you mean I have to stop at stop signs? Cars don't know where I'm at. Like, I almost get, when I would go to Chicago, I would get run over. And Saugatuck didn't help because I'd just walk on the street then as a kid too.
Yep.
Very little rules then, very little now.
Well, there were just. It's a mistake to think that during the Depression, people that were of an age, not just children, like my mother was a child during the Depression, but people a little bit older, that everything was all prim and you were following every rule. But there was another friend of my family that would just say, "Oh Lord, no." We were trying to have fun wherever we could.
I think that was part of it, you know. There was that push for sobriety, but that didn't last.
It didn't take here.
No, they did. It didn't last for them because anybody that was a young adult in the
I gotta check on the
30s.
barrel.
Okay. I used to have
Yeah,
my great uncle Harry, I think, would go deer hunting, and he'd leave Holland and make it as far as Saugatuck. And anyway, he'd come back with something.
Something.
Yeah, or I don't know exactly what. Yeah, he would show up after a while with something. But you know, I mean, that's deer can be anyway. And the Gracie Wilson, you remember?
Oh yes.
She would drink gin and milk.
Ouch.
I didn't, you know, I don't know if it's good for you, but she lasted a long time.
She really did.
And the Wilsons owned the liquor store, and what was the name of that one?
The gourmet shop.
Gourmet shop, yeah.
Because we used to play down at the end of Butler Street here. We used to play football when we were like 5th, 6th grade in her side yard. Elementary school kids.
Yeah, right.
And she was just like,
Yeah, play. Yeah,
Not everybody was like that.
yeah.
When I was talking about who straightened out the 30s for me, that was Franny Waltman,
Oh,
who just said, "Oh no, we."
yeah.
I mean, the pavilion was already there at the end of the street here, and
Uh-huh.
and they were, 19, 20, 21, 22, and they wanted to go out and have a good time, even though they had no money.
Yeah, well,
But
you can always, Saugatuck was, well, anyway.
What?
Well, I remember the Dennisons. I had the jazz sign from the Blue Tempo on my studio, and the Dennisons wouldn't cough up any dough for it.
Oh.
And I finally, it's in the Historical Society.
Good.
There's a lot of other crap that I accumulated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, the Blue Tempo was another interesting story because
Yep. Toad.
it was the under the radar
It was here in town.
gay bar. Yes.
First Gabe, yeah.
Secret?
No.
They're not really a secret, but it was.
Had a bookstore above it.
They had the bookstore above it, and
Call
Remember
Me Ishmael.
we played down there with Planet 7
Right.
for a short period where they were crazy enough to turn. He was crazy enough to turn the
Yeah.
bar over to some friends of ours. And
Yep. And Jim Brown's daughter was down there about she was about 16.
could have been hers. I remember
Oh, boy.
one night we were
Yeah.
down there, and the mayor came in with some people, and we thought, uh-oh, they just ordered drinks and hung out.
Yeah.
It was the middle of winter, and they weren't going to.
There wasn't anything else going on.
But I'm still curious about the fact why Toad would.
Oh, Toad was friends with my dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I heard stories. I got
John
You
was
said
a good
Toad.
guy.
He was an Interurban
was a
driver,
good
right?
guy.
As he retired.
Gate.
My dad was part owner in that. what was it called? The Blue Tempo or
Yeah,
something?
no kidding.
Wow. What was that about? They were just kind of.
I
teeing it
don't know
up.
anything about it. Who
Oh,
knows? Maybe my
okay.
dad was gay back then. Whatever.
But not necessarily. Because
No, well, there were stories. He, when he got his college degree in Cleveland. What's the name of that Catholic school in Cleveland? Whatever.
Saint something.
Whatever it was called.
Saint Festus.
He would sell his ID. Because he was a teacher, or like his mom was a teacher, so he would that machine, that old school machine. He would just print his
Mimeograph.
mimeograph. He would just print his ID and sell them to all the kids at his college. Well, he's up in Saugatuck working the door.
Oh no.
He's like, "Sorry, can't let you in." I'm like, why? And he goes, "Because that's me. You bought my ID, dude."
but it was also known as a jazz space.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
they
think
were-
Dad was.
But then that was, for collegiate kind of age
Yeah.
people, that was a big thing, and guys would travel.
Dad
from-
would tell stories about flipping cars out in Glen and stealing my grandmother's car with Toad and wrecking it and going like this. 40 miles an hour back, I guess that was big. And,
Oh, yeah. Wow.
and
40.
40 with these cars and doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
And they would. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. They're
They would.
directional.
I don't know what I'm doing.
You're doing great. What would Toad
They
do?
would
in
know.
the-
They would flip the car, going to get beer, meet girls, or whatever the heck, and my dad would be like, "Oh my gosh, my mom's car, or whatever, some '57 Chevy or some whatever like that." And Toad went like this, the whole forward, the whole hood was bent in, and Toad went up and punched it. Grandma
it
never
out.
knew anything.
Straightened it out.
I gotta get some beers. You want a beer, Jack?
I too. Thank
Thank
you.
What are you
Thank
drinking
you.
again?
I'm just.
The Foster's, please.
Yes, sir. You're okay. sir?
Yeah, I'm okay.
It
Toad had a massive record collection.
record collection, and he had tapes from the years of when jazz artists played there, and tapes from the jazz festivals that used to go on.
Well, Masters, Al Masters had the jazz tapes from.
Did he?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
good.
And I had them transferred over at Stewart's.
Pole trot.
Yep,
Cheers, Stuart.
Yep, cheers. Oh, that's this thing. Anyway, best quality. They were on 2-track someplace out of Muskegon. Recorded it like Michigan Sound on 7-inch reel-to-reels. Duke and Brubeck.
Yeah,
The 4 freshmen.
I think it was 75 when we played down for that, like the 1 month Toad turning the bar over.
Oh, yeah.
But we
Well, this
found
is-
those tapes there, and we're going through them, just going, "Whoa, put that on."
Yeah. Well, there was this jazz festival, 60 and 61, and
Here in town?
at the old airport, which is
South of Douglas, the old airport.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Now they're going to turn it into I don't
Dog
know.
park.
Yeah, probably dog park.
Jazz festival sounds better.
And they had one in '84 or something. I had some posters from that. When Jeff was supposedly going to play with blah blah blah, and Thelonious Monk's son was there.
Oh, okay.
And
He's real.
it was ill attended because it was the promoter set it up, was nowhere to be found the day of. And I won't use his name.
I rode out there with a friend of mine because he had tickets, and by that time I'd already been burned by the promoter, so I didn't take it very seriously. But that was the one where the talent showed up, and nobody was there.
Yeah, right. I was in the piano business way back then, and they rented one from my partner, a great big Kawhi, on the stage. Oscar Brown Jr. was there.
Yeah. I don't remember.
John
Hendricks.
I talked to John Hendricks.
Yeah.
Who wrote the lyrics for, but told me out of my head, which Joni Mitchell did.
But people were used to his things going.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And nobody showed that because I drove out there with John Van Buren because he said, "Let's drive out there. I have tickets." And
Yeah.
we didn't stay. The saddest thing was It was a beautiful summer day, and there were all these mature black people dressed to the nines
Yeah.
for a summer day at the festival.
Larry, I got your water
just
at the
walking
bar,
around
buddy.
going, what the
I
heck?
got you some
Yeah,
waters
where
at the
is
bar.
everybody? Yeah, nobody was. Yeah, anyway,
It was,
ill attended to say the least. But there were some recordings. I don't know where the hell they went. But and they had a decent sound man.
I got any wild stories?
Oh yeah, Pat.
No, I don't know anything about the wild stories, but I will say,
What about
one of
flipping
my good
cards?
friends, Mike Sweeney.
Oh yeah.
I just want, when we were here, I want to say something great
Yeah.
about Mike Sweeney. Love that guy.
Love you.
Yeah.
Pete.
He'd tell
Great.
stories. He'd sit in the Bolton House yard and do, what's that freaking bush called? The one that in the spring, it's purple, it smells good.
Oh, the
Lilacs?
Lilacs. We had a 150-year-old huge lilac tree bush, and he'd come over and have a glass of wine, sit there and paint for a few hours.
Well, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
That's what you and I were talking about the other night.
Had till midnight.
Till midnight.
A lot of that I missed because I'd only come for a couple times, but I did it all the time. So all my change was and my great aunt, when she was alive, she said, she's basically a gossip columnist, and she would just say, my nephews are coming in town, and say all our names, and we thought it was cool because we were in the paper. Didn't really
for
matter.
the paper. She was writing for the paper.
Yeah, the
Oh, she
commercial
really
record.
was a
Commercial
gossip
Record had
column.
a number of local gossip type columnists.
Yeah, I
It's
think she was
like,
in it for forever, like until late 80s.
Gosh, or meanderings.
Yes.
We
that
hear
what it was
all
called?
sorts of.
Yes.
She-
Mrs. Reiser wrote that, Gosh
Oh.
Darn Meanderings, and it would tell you who brought their family up for the weekend from Chicago or wherever. and-
Yeah, she would say Mike Tracey and his nephews Patrick, Bill, Matthew, Michael Jr. and his wife Patty. He's a professor at Indiana University, and he's gonna come up for the weekend.
How would she find that out? Do you have any idea?
No, like she would.
People
We were
talk.
the nephew. We would come up like.
No, but I mean in general, she knew your trip, but everybody
she would
else's
sit at
enough
the
for.
ladies' club and talk, and oh my god, all the Tracy boys had to walk her
And
down
then
like this perfectly, all the way down, and she'd wave and say, "Hi, you have to meet so and so. This is my nephew." Da, 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 da. And we all remember going, "Oh, my brothers would push me and go, you do it, you do it."
But you did it.
We had to, like,
Yeah,
you'd get a handbag,
Fabulous.
or you couldn't get to go to the beach.
Oh.
That was the.
But when we were kids, we ran the roost. Like, we didn't have to do. We weren't. Dad was at Clearbrook golfing. Mom was at the beach or doing something shopping, and the Tracy boys would just take the chain ferry over, and paddle it yourself to be free if you were a kid, and we'd throw each other off.
Nice.
that sounds like fun. It was
But
free if you
nowadays
did it
go to
yourself.
jail or die or something.
Yeah.
Did you ever find any of the Tarzan swings out over the river?
Yeah, we did.
okay,
I'm
yeah.
sure we were there doing it.
I know.
We were Indiana wild kids. If there was something to jump off of, we did it.
We'll talk more about Bloomington. This is interesting to me.
I'm gonna get homeboy a beer.
I played down there.
Yeah. Oh, let's see what. Oh,
But
yeah.
Let's see. What's a good gig question? What's a memorable gig here in town?
the Sandbar.
Yeah.
No, I mean
Yeah.
the boathouse had the Shippa brothers in it for 11 years. The Shippa.
And I was in
brothers,
high
the
school.
Shippa brothers played. But they were the house band. Played every weekend for at least 11 years.
I was not supposed to be in there because I was too young, but I'd sneak into the boathouse just to watch Fred be the lead singer and pound the hell out of these little tiny drums that he had, and he was just
Captain Fred.
Captain Fred.
Yep.
And then later I played in a band with him, and he was so much fun.
What night would they play? Saturday or?
They
Friday, Saturday,
Yeah.
Sunday, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, all three.
Sunday yeah,
Probably.
Sunday matinee.
Wow.
And after a while, that Shipper brothers, they just called them the Shippa Fools. They're still around. The Shippas were. Fred was a great guy, great singer, just country, bang, 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 bang.
But you know, Al Weener.
Here he is.
Famous
Yeah.
Al Baker.
The famous Al
The
Baker.
famous
Yeah,
Al
he played
Baker
with
played
them.
lead guitar with them, and
Yeah,
he is still just one of my favorite people in the world.
The famous
he
Al
was
Baker.
he was in last Monday night
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Oh, and whatnot?
Yeah.
Well, he's like
Cheers,
the
whatnot.
grandfather of rock and roll guitar players in Holland, as far as I'm concerned. But he's a very quiet, wonderful, introverted kind of man, and he's told me these stories where he would play at the boathouse, which was kind of a bucket of blood in those days.
Yeah, the ceilings were low.
Millie Slayer ran it, and she would run big crazy men out of there.
I heard
she
that
could.
she'd shake the beer bottle, and if it's empty, you either had to buy another one or get
Probably.
I don't.
But Al Baker told me the stories about. So he's playing with the Shipper Brothers band, and those boys, they were tough boys, but they knew that certain
hearts.
things. Oh, totally.
Yeah, excavators.
But they knew that he was an introvert, but he was one of them, and they would just go around the room on a break and tell people, okay, if Al's not on the stage and he's walking through the room, get out of his way. Don't even talk to him. Just leave him alone.
The famous Al Baker.
The famous
Not
Al
me.
Baker.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud
Not
of
you.
I
Not
gave
me.
him
Yeah,
that.
the famous Al Baker.
No, I gave him that moniker, and I'm so glad that some people still call him that.
Yeah.
Larry was just talking. Asked him to come over and sit with us. He said no.
Who?
But he brought up the bank robbery in '91. You guys remember that?
Yes, very well.
The president's mask. What do you guys remember about that?
Oh, that they were up. They were looking in the
Do
water.
you have any old masks, by the way?
No. I just remember that they tore everything up. They even looked up by the Episcopal Church in the water for something. You know, they got all these.
It was simple. It was after a Labor Day weekend. I believe it was Labor Day. But anyways, they just called in to the Saugatuck Police Department, got Lyle Jones to drive around
The
to the
one
other
cop
side
to go
of
to
the
the
river.
other side.
Yeah.
And while he was over there, they went in with their Nixon masks on and made off with everything from the weekend because they knew it'd be a big haul with deposits from Sunday night.
Brilliant.
But I heard they ended up getting caught eventually.
I believe one
Most
of them turned
likely.
on the other ones, if I remember, and that messed it up for those guys.
That's what always get narked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I
It's
remember.
not the crime, it's the cover up, Al.
Yeah, I know.
So I heard.
They're coming for me.
Allegedly.
But these were real pro robbers. I mean, they put it together and they thought, oh, this is a cinch. We'll just get the one cop on Monday morning on the other side of the river.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's big time stuff like that, but not.
It's mysterious.
It's so funny you brought
Different
that
now.
up.
Well, he was talking about because we were saying we were talking about history and this and that. Oh, another thought.
Well, remember Salt Bryant?
Of course.
He came back from the war missing a leg.
Who did?
He was
Salt
the
Bryant.
He
Oh,
was
okay.
he was the BP. You know the
He took care of the streets.
Yeah, right.
He was
Yeah.
the foreman.
yeah. And he had one leg, and he'd keep his socks up with thumbtacks. Kind of spooky looking.
Yikes. What do you mean? Like in his dead leg?
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
wooden leg?
Well, how else you gonna keep your sock up?
Thumbtacks seem reasonable.
I lived next door to his wife for about 4 years in the 80s. That was
Yeah.
a great place to live.
Yeah.
Well maintained, I imagine.
Well, not just that. It was you were so close to downtown in those days. If I was playing a gig down in Saugatuck, I could just throw my cymbal bag over my shoulder and walk downtown and not worry about parking. But the gully was on the edge of the backyard, so it was just.
Yeah.
I had a dog, and that dog,
I heard there used to be
He
a
knows where to
lot
go.
more bikes down here. I heard it was a real biker town for a while.
Oh, yeah. At the pop festival, which I was fortunate enough to be.
You were there,
Yeah,
I
I
wasn't.
helped build the stage. I saw Muddy Waters, Flaming World of
Saugatuck
Arthur
Pop
Brown.
Festival in 69.
Yeah.
Well, 68 and 69, but 69 was the big one.
Yeah, and SRC. I was working for SRC at the time with Scott Richard Case. Anyway, they played these big rondelles, like round and round, and they
Detroit
also with
band.
yeah, and let's see, what's the other band? Not the Stooges, but anyway, there was a lot of Muddy Waters. Some didn't show. Flaming World of Arthur Brown had a rip in his pants, and he had his headdress. He's still alive.
He'd shoot fire out of
Yeah,
his helmet.
big butane. Fire.
Because our friend Pete that we played with a lot, he said he was there, and he said, I was tripping, and I was fine until Arthur Brown shot fire out of his helmet, and I peed my pants.
And I think Emerson, Lake and Palmer or something were his backup band. I mean, they swapped around. There weren't a whole lot of.
Were there a lot of drugs to be had at that festival?
Oh my God! They broke down the fences. They had 14,000 people, and bikes were running through here. You
Through
couldn't
the
get,
bar?
That's what I understand.
That was the last summer for me where I was still trying to be a good boy and going to my dumb dishwashing job or whatever it was.
Well, take heed, dishwashers. Don't do that.
No, I know. Well, if it would have been the next year, I would have just quit and gone to the big festival.
How long did the festivals go for?
For a weekend.
No, I mean,
But it
year?
crippled the whole
When
town.
did they?
68 and 69.
Oh, that's
Yeah, something like that.
and then they
yeah.
came up with ordinances to stop that.
Yeah.
Oh, too much fun.
Way too much fun. And
Well, you couldn't get down Blue Star.
Perfect.
And if you knew the back roads, you could get into Saugatuck, but you had to know the back roads.
Yeah.
the town was full, just full.
Sounds great.
And cops couldn't manage anything. They were totally outnumbered. They pushed down the fences. They gave up trying to make any money. It was, and they chased some guy was standing on the top of the dune with a shotgun.
Bill
The bike-
Manifold.
Oh, was it?
He owned Potawatomi Beach.
Oh, yeah.
He was going to keep them off of his
Oh,
sand
yeah. The
dune.
bikers chased him away behind the stage, the stage was made of, like a semi-trailer with lights and whatever crap. Very primitive, but it was loud, and it was as loud as they could possibly make it.
Can we hold it?
Yeah.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
Good.
And I didn't see a whole lot of it because I was just marooned over there, and with the
Where? In the stage area?
right, you couldn't get across town. I remember going around Hulse Lake in the back of, eek, yeah, in a Volkswagen or something. We'd shift our weight, and the back would come around. Yeah.
You were a tiny bit ahead of me on,
And,
like I said, the next year I would have just quit my job and gone and hung out. But
and then in the Historical Society, Sweeney, the late Michael Sweeney, we took a walk out there and found some beer, the tops that they used to tear off at the site where the stage was. And I think
At the airport?
No, this was
this
over
was
by
on the other
Potawatomi
side of
Beach.
Oh, okay,
No,
okay.
by the dune rides.
Oh, okay.
There was,
okay.
they had a big open field. Anyway, at the time it was open sandy.
my family had a bar and restaurant right out there too. But the
Jocko's.
previous owners
Jocko's.
but the previous owners they just shut down. They would sell sandwiches out the window, like, but they were so afraid of everything going on in their little neighborhood that.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, well, it was about as wild. And then, anyway, we did another. The late Ken Kleiman and I hitchhiked to Mexico, just the Mexican border, came back, all full of chigger bites. I was full of chigger bites anyway, and did another show up in Petoskey with kind of the same lineup, sort of, with, I forget that flute player, he's still not, like,
Jethro Tull?
Yeah, Jethro Tull.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we pushed
Ian Anderson.
Yeah. So I was, for an afternoon, I was, working the stage with Jethro Tull.
You and Kenny, you were traveling guys.
Oh,
You went all the
Jesus.
way out to California together, didn't you?
Let's see, that was when the Hollander Hotel wasn't a pile of rubble. Let's see, we had the blue van and the door would always fall off after a while. Yeah, we went to, Southern California.
What were you looking for there?
We just wanted to get out of town,
Okay,
for a bit.
and I understand, because you were seekers.
Yeah. That's one way to put it.
See, we didn't have there was no drummer, so it was, I don't know, it's so far back. move on.
How about the 70s?
Oh,
What happened then?
yeah.
I met Al.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Al is still the most interesting person I met in 1973.
Okay.
I met him down here in Saugatuck and took him to this little house I was living in over by
Yeah, and the
Discovery over there and for lunch, and I wasn't ready for you. It's like, well, you could be a new friend.
yeah. And then we opened up for somebody, and were you in that? No, it was Jaber Talon. I was pretty the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band in
I was on that. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yep, before they really got traction. So now they're mostly retired or dead. Yeah.
Well, that was a period for us because we dabbled in different things, but all of a sudden, Al and I and 3 other guys, we just started playing together, and all of a sudden it was like we didn't want to play the crap everybody else was playing, so we just started writing everything we were doing, or most things we were doing.
Yep.
We weren't very amenable to doing the Doobie Brothers or the Strubber.
None
or
of that.
Clock
No,
or
we didn't do-
anything.
we
just
made
did our
everything
thing,
up.
and we were just storytellers. And Al, he writes lyrics with such a voice that, and a voice, you'd
Yeah.
sing them, but it was just,
It was make it up and go. Yeah. And
we worked hard on this though, because
oh yeah.
we worked on it for a while and took a short break, and then the reason we really got back together was that my dad had the bar restaurant, but he was ill, and my mom needed me there during the day just to keep the business going, and she thought it was a great idea. Well, if I'm there, if my son Jack is there, well, he has 4 friends that are playing music. Great, now I have 5 guys there.
Yeah.
And they'll take care of stuff, and we did, and we set up and we practiced every day and wrote tunes and
Did some minor maintenance.
did some minor maintenance.
It was an old.
But between 10 o'clock in the morning and 4 o'clock when things opened up, we were just working on music.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a golden period for us. I don't know how everybody made it through, any of the 5 of us, but we kind of did. It was...
Yeah. And Josh sat in. We did a few, whatever, the best effort recording in the restaurant.
Oh, yeah?
Well, we talked about this earlier. We had a couple of these long recording sessions where things didn't have to be ready to be recorded, but that's, in some cases, that was the only recording we had of certain ideas.
Yeah.
And we also knew, we were a little bit proud, too, that we were doing all this stuff that we came up with and not just...
Right, Proud Mary or whatever.
Proud Mary,
none
the
of that.
Proud Marys
We did
of the
none
world.
of that. And you had other people come in that were fantastic musicians. And Uncle Bob.
Yeah?
Uncle Bob only played in D flat or something.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
D-flat.
Yep.
He
Retired.
walked into my dad's restaurant and played the piano for about an hour and a half and came up and said, I like this place. I think I'm going to work here now. And he was with us for the next 15 years.
Yeah. Yep. Retired Chicago
Yes,
policeman.
yes,
Uncle
he was.
Bob. That's all right.
Retired Southside cop. His name didn't really go
I
down.
bet he knew something about my family.
I'm going to guarantee you he did. Because his
What's
name...
up with the Sandbar? You guys gonna do that on Mondays now? Or we're gonna...
Sandbar Jam?
We'll talk about this.
Monday
We
Sandbar
gotta
Jam?
talk to Pete.
Okay, we'll
Yeah,
talk about
I'm going.
Brian's on it.
There's something
You're
going
leaving
on.
us.
Yeah. Sorry.
Who's leaving?
I'm
Al's gotta go back to California.
Yeah. Well.
Eventually.
I
I'll
got.
miss you.
Well, I'll miss it.
We get right back to the normal place.
What's
really
up with your
fast.
house?
I don't own anything here anymore.
Oh, you sold it?
Yeah, sold it, lost
Yeah.
it, whatever. Yeah.
We don't own anything
Evaporated.
anymore. We're gypsies now.
I don't
Yeah, I
own
rent.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that Saugatuck Douglas took care of me and I got a sweet ass.
Excellent.
It does that. That's a magic way of doing that.
Excellent.
Oh, that's how I got it. Jack, that's how I got in here. I was working somewhere else and I was like, oh, I'm just going to hang out. And
Yeah.
Brian goes, fuck you. You got to work, dude. you know what you're doing, and you're people like you ish. So you have to work.
How long have you been here?
Four-ish.
For
I think 14, 13 years.
And we're basically just meeting, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it. I really am, pal.
You too. I'm like, we were just one-offers with the Sweeney and the Al, and we were one-offers. It just happens every once in a while.
1 degree of separation.
Yeah, with 800 people here, you still can miss people.
Yeah.
It happens.
Sweeney.
We've heard about each other though, but like,
Do you know what happened? What happened to all Michael's paintings?
Peter's got them.
Yeah.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're in.
Peter's not touching them.
Yeah. He, once in a
I
while.
would love to see his paintings.
There's some
I told
up
him
at
I'd buy
Capizio.
one. He said, "Fuck you, I'll give you one."
There's some up at Capizio. Last I knew.
And-
Oh yeah, Capizio. Maybe
Yeah.
It's on Peter's decision to what Peter wants to do,
Yeah.
and I respect whatever the hell he wants to do. Cause I'll cry just looking at him.
Well, you know, but the thing is,
And it's not- wasn't my father.
As musicians, we've had so many friends that have been, of course, musicians, but we've known so many painters and visual artists and just plain creators.
I would go back to his house and knock out booze, and he'd get on the drum and tell stories and talk shit. It was awesome.
Well,
I love that.
That
guy.
was one of his super Spidey powers, telling stories.
Oh yeah,
He
he had
was
jokes.
Because I'd close the White House and you go, "Come on over, Patrick. Let's have another drink."
Well, he and I drove backwards from, his place, put his drums in my keyboard or whatever, and drove his car backwards to the White House. We played, and then we turned around, drove backwards back to,
It
whatever.
only had reverse.
Yeah. No. It was just so close. It's like from here to the end of the
gotcha.
building. We may as well just.
I love the relationship you guys had. I mean, going back about 30 years, when our friend Tommy, who was a great guitar player, lived just 2 blocks from here.
Yeah, the same. So it was actually the same structure that Michael was living in. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They his aunts owned the London house.
Yes. They had the house in the front, but Tommy lived in back, and we would. I mean, I
Aunt
would come
Jean,
down.
and there was another
We'd
aunt.
spend the early evening a block and a half from here at his house, and then sooner or later, in late Saturday or Friday, Saturday evening, we'd make our way down here to the Sandbar.
Yeah.
But and then after that, we would go back to the house a block and a half away, and wait for the whole town to calm down by 3 a.m. Then it was safe to maneuver, but we were just downtown. And
Tom Edgecombe.
Tom Edgecombe, fabulous mind.
Yeah.
Fabulous. We miss him.
Went too soon. Not the picture of health. But dear, he wrote some incredible stuff, which I co-wrote. I had the pleasure.
Well, he was just
Kind of an incendiary guy. I mean, he was
could be.
He could be engaging or drive people crazy because
he was the good Tommy and the bad Tommy.
Yeah,
But when he was the good Tommy, he was just so intelligent and wonderful to spend time with.
What about the 80s?
We didn't see the 80s together too much.
No.
Well, we started out together with Al Weener and the Bunz.
Jim was born.
Yeah.
Yes,
right.
children.
Yep. Yeah, I was in Grand Rapids doing a piano business for quite a number of years on Ionia, and now it's a bar.
Used to be. It was, and now I think it
Well,
is.
on Ionia at that time, you were all thinking about buying up Ionia, and now it.
Shoulda.
Yeah, coulda, shoulda.
Damn, man.
I think my partner bought that building.
Really?
I don't remember, but it was the upstairs. We cleaned it up, chipped stuff back. It was a brothel upstairs. There were dirty drawings underneath the plaster, and maybe he ran. I don't remember.
I bet you learned a lot in that period when you were working at the, what was it called, piano work shop?
Well, we started out furniture workshop.
Workshop.
And then we got transitioned into more pianos, and then it turned into West Michigan Piano. And I'm sure he was a trumpet player, and
Yes, Ken Waring.
yeah.
But,
And-
we recorded there too in that room.
Yeah, with Ed
The front
Buchanan
room.
was the late Ed Buchanan was the engineer.
I didn't know what a wonderful guy he was because the first time we went there to record and I was trying to park out front to unload equipment and this little hippie man wouldn't get out of the way and I finally put my window on. So I'm parking there, move. You know, and he had to jump kind of. And I didn't realize he was just an old rock jock at LAV in Grand Rapids.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was-
Yeah. Ayers Hampers.
Yeah. Those
And-
guys were.
Yeah. Ed. Matuzak was his.
Ed Matuzak.
Yeah, but Buchanan was his radio name.
Here, would you hold this one over?
Yes, of course.
Well, no, you can
I was
drink,
thinking
too.
I could
I'm gonna stand
put it
up
in
for
the
one.
stand. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Come say hi, Scott. You want to get in there? No? All right.
Patrick's got that radio voice.
Patrick does have a radio voice.
And now for the weather.
Take a little bathroom break. All right. Well, then you got the piano business in the 80s.
Introduce yourself.
What, yeah, there he is. Come on over here. We got Scott. Bingo.
Yes.
Here we go. You will. Yay. Scott.
Hey, Scott
Sission,
Sission.
everybody.
My old buddy, guitar player, and whatever.
So he was talking about the 80s.
Mics are directional.
Yeah. Yep.
They got it.
The 80s. Scott and I did a lot of stuff during the 80s. The
Yeah.
Bunz.
I think you rehearsed in my basement for a little while, and then what else did we do? It went from there.
Yeah. I know we did a lot of gig. One day we did 4 gigs. We did something on the mall, a wedding, maybe, a one wedding where we all plugged into the same amp, played, got the hell out of there.
Yep.
And then, a radio wedding, something, and then something at night. I don't want to ever do 4 gigs in one day
I've
again.
never done that. I don't think ever since. That's never been something that we've ever done.
But,
or I've
yeah.
ever done.
Yeah. It was a lot of
And
fun.
we probably made money well into the tens.
Yeah. 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 And put on a lot of miles.
Yeah. Well, and then it got to the point where we were the backup band for Sam and Dave.
That's right. Yep. In Grand Haven, the big winter carnival,
Okay.
and we played a set, and when Sam and Dave, we'll just keep playing a little more. And it was a blizzard, and they never showed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, sweetened up. It was a beautiful place to play. It was
Yep,
the second floor of the old piano factory,
Yeah, the
right?
Story and Clark Piano Factory. Great venue, great sound man. Blizzard, January or something. So we played all the Sam and Dave we could, and then squeezed them for another $500 for another set, and yeah, we made it home safe, or we wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
That's true.
And we could have once we were doing, we could have played with Huey Lewis or something. I forget. Anyway, we decided that there was money. We could get $900 for playing the East Grand Rapids prom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were going to give us $200 to open up for nobody.
Rather probably prom.
Yeah, prom $900.
Yeah.
Count me in. Yeah. I heard he's still. I don't know whatever happened to him, but you never hear about him.
No.
Nobody ever hears about me either. But
A lot of Bunz gigs in the 80s.
Oh,
yeah,
it's pretty regular. Point West.
Point West, boom, 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 boom. Quad amping, a lot of Point West. Yep. The Point. They would have a different. About every month, they'd have another manager.
Oh, turnover.
Yeah. You'd listen to the manager go, sounds like a dog barking. But, you'd figure,
You guys are too loud. You guys are.
yeah, he was, yeah. Yeah, we'll just get a
new manager.
Yeah, next month there'll be a different manager. They should have put one of those, doors like this on the,
Oh yeah,
and the air conditioning was never work in the
not
summer.
as bad as I thought it would be. Oh yeah, that's another thing. You come up and visit in Saugatuck. There's no AC. There was no air conditioning until I started running the place, and I had Dad put one in, but it was get so hot.
Pete controls the heat.
No,
make
like
shirts.
he controls the heat. Yeah, you can get pretty hot in here in the winter.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Perfect. Come down here in sauna, play some pool in your underwear.
A lot of the times I'll walk across the bridge in my Carhartt.
Yeah.
Or scoot over.
Yeah.
And then take my cards off and I'll be in shorts for the shift.
It's very luxurious.
Yeah, I'm still pretty lucky. I work at Clearbrook too.
Oh, you do?
1 day a week. I golf all the time.
Shout
I
out Clearbrook.
negotiated membership. That's what I'm allowed to say.
Yep. Yeah.
I went there for dinner last night. I love it.
Grills open year round?
Yep. Awesome food, great. Like, that's like, here I'm like, Al, what the fuck do you want? But at Clearbrook, I go, hi, Al, Patrick, nice to see you. The specials are, the soup is.
Here, Jack.
Yeah, like, I don't,
You can get back in here, Jack.
you have to, you know. It's
Aren't we
a
having
different atmosphere
Here,
over at
why don't you
Clearbrook.
just stay and we'll get another
Very
seat. I'll get another seat. Why don't you
genteel.
stay?
Here, I'll get you a beer. You sit here.
Seems like
I'll
we
be
got a
back
friend
over.
that said, are we having
I'm
fun
feeling
yet?
paranoid because I am at work.
It's a casual hour.
So have you met Kirk Cousins yet?
I had served him before.
Have you?
He did the clarification on that is he owns the property of the golf course. But Jim Geltman still rents it. Well, we still run it. I say we like I something.
Yeah.
But I've been a member for 10 years, or I've
Yeah.
either worked there or been a member for 10, 12 years now. And I love it. It's just beautiful. I'm horrible at golf. Probably a shitty server. But I'm nice to people. I used to bartend. I was kind of like moving up and over there, and then I switched, and then Uncle Pete and Jim Geltema.
Yeah.
Jim Geltema worked for Uncle Pete in Lansing 4,000 years ago. That was one of his first jobs when Pete was running some bar.
Oh.
Geltema was working at the bar for him.
Oh.
That was before Geltema, graduated college and became.
Yeah.
Well, when I was in high school, Clearbrook was very cool because, like I said, my parents had a bar restaurant just a stone's throw from there, but I could go there and I knew these little guys were playing music. And I could walk in on a weekend night.
Ooh, you got another one?
And Fritz Valdice was the manager, and he'd just go, oh, here, sit down here. And he'd bring me a Coke, bring me something to eat. And he was just, because he knew I was just there to hear the guys play music. He was so hip.
Dad would take us to West Shore to play golf.
Yeah.
And then we would get swimming lessons. I figured this out later in life. 4 sons, 4-hour swimming lessons. He was golfing. He'd say, sure, Patty, I'll watch the kids.
Yeah.
Let's go to the pool at Clearbrook. And sure enough, because my dad was Coast Guard, right? So
Yep.
all the boys had to do this rite of passage of swimming at Oval before you could do whatever you wanted. Basically, he let us. No parents let kids do what we got to do. It's good because I don't.
Right.
There'd only been about 2 or 3 Tracey boys instead of 4.
Yeah.
So speaking of golf, we used to golf at that
West Shore over there.
Glenn.
Glenn.
I never got to play that.
Oh, that was the best.
That disappeared before I.
The late.
that's right.
Oh wait, get your hats
Yeah.
ready. Gary Wilkinson and Al and I used to. The
Yeah.
late Gary Wilkinson.
Yeah. Last time I was there, they.
Was his daughter friends with your daughter, or is that this Wilkinson?
Yeah, that's. Yeah. Yeah.
His daughter
Yeah.
is friends with your daughter.
Yeah. 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 Who just had a baby? She lives in blah 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 Hawaii. or
God, Jack's gone now.
whatever.
No comment.
Yeah. Yeah.
This one has a shorter cord. This
I think
switched it
that's
over.
Yeah,
a
you sit there for a second.
housing development now, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're all
gated
housing.
community
Yeah,
or
gated
whatever.
community.
Josephine was 6, and I decided to do. I was babysitting sort of maybe, and I let her drive the cart, and they said that I guess when you're 6 you can't drive a go-kart.
Yeah,
I mean, a golf cart. Yeah, she was doing a fine job. I was just shooting balls this way and that way.
Oh yeah, no, come on in here. They said they wanted you to say hi.
Yeah.
You're dodging it mostly.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Good to see you.
You're on candid camera. He's coming with you. He's like, I'm sick of this.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lost
You'll
his
see you
attention.
next Jack. I don't know.
Yeah, see you next time, Jack. Let's see. Okay, we got the 80s. What about mid 80s? Just because it was a big decade. Anything particular? Or we can go
Was
right
that the
into,
Clinton era?
right into the 90s.
I don't know. I don't remember. Let's see.
What about, let's see, any pajama parties?
Killer Bees. I remember doing a one-off where I played rhythm guitar when there was a tower marina and there was still a tower up there.
What? What does the tower look like?
It was just tower, and they tore it down. They had a really cool old Lester grand piano in this shack at the top of the hill. Tower Marine, no, whatever, West Marine.
It's like Deep Horizon or
deep,
something.
Deep Horizon.
Deep well, money machine.
Yeah. Anyway, we did a one-off where, Blues Brothers or whatever, the Killer Bees, and
Cool. On the hill in the tower?
No,
Sounds cool as hell.
Yeah, the tower was still there.
Hey.
They tore it down soon after that. Now it's all condos. And
Could you play music in the tower? Or is it just like a fire tower?
I think it was more decorative.
Okay.
Just something in name only. Were you on the Killer Bees?
Glad you're back.
thing?
Oh yeah,
Well, what was the guitar player's name?
Scott Feldice.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That was at the height of the Blues Brothers thing, and they wanted a Killer Bee, or
Yeah.
an Animal House party.
Yeah,
That
that's
sounds
it.
fun.
Yeah. It was quite the ruckus. I had.
You played guitar on that one.
Yes, yeah,
Also.
I played rhythm. Yeah.
Because Raph was
Not
playing
well.
piano.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, you did fine.
Thank you.
I have pictures from the
Your
Killer
hats-
Bees.
You forgot your hats for rap.
Oh yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Rap.
I missed a little knucklehead.
Yeah, he and I had two keyboards in one band was hard to juggle sometimes.
It could be. But that was part of what set us apart when we were in
Novelty.
Planet 7, because we had a Hammond organ player and a piano player, and sometimes you'd switch a little bit.
Yeah. He was great on bass too. Rap.
He was a great bass player.
Great. Yeah, great bass player.
He's an awesome bass player.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's I was not ready for him to go.
No, that was a surprise.
I'm sure he was surprised.
He was going out for breakfast. He got up and was going out for breakfast.
Oh, that's right. He came. You had a gig the night before.
He did. Those guys played a gig the night before, which the guys who were on the gig with him were just totally dumbfounded that next morning. And like I was when his wife called me, Krista, I was just like, what? Okay. It was a couple days before I could really talk to her about it.
Sounds tragic.
Yeah, that traveled fast. Al called me, I remember.
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
Bad news does travel fast.
it's hard to say goodbye to old friends.
Yeah.
And all the wrinkles you go through with old friends, but they're still old friends, and they're still like that old dog under the porch that just goes, I'm loyal. It's true.
Yeah. Yeah. You had Hammonds and Leslie's in common with
I
Dave.
did, because he got rid of all that, and somehow I had one rig I owned with him, but I gave it, when I moved, I gave it to a friend of mine who was Gordy. You remember?
Yeah, right.
Gordy.
Little
Gordy has
Gordy.
it. He's recording great stuff, and he was asking me, it's like, I don't know how to pay you for this. I said, you're not going to pay me for it.
Yeah, you can't afford it.
I'm going out the exit. You're coming in, pal.
Yeah.
He spent a lot of time around my house when he was growing up.
You was a squirrely little guy.
Yes, he was. Well, he was 2 heads taller than all the other kids his age. He still is. He's a big old boy now, but a delight.
Yeah. Well, been a long time, but
I'm glad. I forgot you got to meet him. That's right. You both played piano for each other at my house.
could be. Wow. Yeah. Well,
Here, we need the narrator.
All right. Yeah,
Oh, the
there we
narrator,
go. And
yeah.
I'm down to the 90s.
Oh, we're really going
That's still
chronological.
30 years ago. I mean, that's.
shit.
Well, I don't know.
Amazing that that's 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Spencer, how can that be?
I'm trying to figure it out myself. I was in high school. It seems like forever ago, but yet yesterday.
It's hard to do the math.
Yeah.
The 90s were interesting. I
90s
didn't know,
were
I
right
didn't know
before
about
the internet.
80s, but the 90s were really interesting.
Patrick, what were you up to in the 90s?
Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah.
What were you
I
doing?
gotta go. You first, sir. Yeah, I'll be right back. In
Okay.
the 80s, I was in elementary school.
90s.
Oh,
90s. What did I graduate? 93. Oh, I'd come up here and cause some havoc because I couldn't drink and I had to be up here.
Trouble.
From Bloomington. Because my parents got divorced and I wasn't quite out of my dad's 2-week divorce. You got to go to Saugatuck for 2 weeks.
Oh.
When I first happened in the divorce, I hated it at 14. And then it got cooler because I'd smuggle booze up.
He's a Bolton. Yeah. Hey, I need that box brought up.
I started playing with you. You guys were all in your early 20s. I think wasn't I like 14? I don't know, something like
Something
that.
like that. I think you're more than 14. But
No,
Oh, perhaps.
Yeah, I think
Jack, have you
were
always
back.
been a drummer? Have you always? Is that?
you can play keyboards.
And harmonica.
I've always
Yeah,
seen you
harmonica.
as a drummer.
I had the fortune and misfortune of my main instruments were drums and harmonica, and it's like the two things that everybody thinks are the easiest to play, but they're both hard, or they can be hard.
When you hard to get good at, kind of thing.
Yeah. My wife always told me that. She said, it's either a fortune or a misfortune. There's always so much
Wise
to
words.
learn on both.
You can learn from your mistakes, I suppose. I very seldom pick up a harp anymore because the dogs howl.
The dogs howl.
Yeah.
But that's why I started playing piano, was just trying to figure out
Now people
harmonica
Yeah.
more. Because there's
How's that work? How can you play one instrument to learn another? What does that mean?
It's all a craft, one kind of elevates the other.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't.
Oh.
I wish I did.
Well, every harmonica has a different scale, but if you're playing in different keys, you can interchange.
there's a nuanced first position, second, third,
Yeah,
diatonic, minors, there's majors, there's special scales. You can, and chromatic, you can have people hot rod harmonicas. It's a real niche kind of thing. If you're good at tweaking a harmonica, it's rare, but there's one or two,
I mean, as a drummer, I've been really lucky because I've been able to play with a number of good harmonica players like yourself. I mean, I learned a lot from you when I was young.
I play all wrong, upside down, backwards.
Don't you play chromatic a lot? Didn't you play chromatic?
I used to. I'm trying to get back into that.
Chromatics what?
Chromatic harmonica with the button on it.
Oh.
I'm trying to get back into
It's
it.
laid out kind of like a piano keyboard. And I'm so dyslexic or whatever, I just start playing upside down. And if I try to visualize the piano upside down, I can't,
Have you ever tried to play the piano upside down?
no.
Like
no.
laying over it, maybe you could reverse it that way.
I've seen, there are.
Lagalas.
Lago.
Lagalas. You put your back to the piano and try to play
Oh,
like
yeah, ouch.
Slim Gaylord. Lagalas.
Oh. I think that's a pedism with Legolas. No?
That was both of our little.
No.
We
When
saw that years ago, and Slim Gaylord really. We saw him on some music show on TV, and we never forgot it.
Yeah, guys that could play with their like this, you know, just kind of showboating.
Yeah,
Back of their hand, turn around, play.
it's incredible.
And Pete Hungerford, who we played a lot of music with Pete Hungerford. Okay,
Yeah,
we'll do another one of these.
Yeah, and, yeah,
Miss you, pal.
yeah. His mother was a real character.
She was a huge character.
Worked for the Saugatuck schools.
Secretly, she ran the Saugatuck schools. She was
She wrote notes and
the
tell him what she...
secretary to the superintendent, and he would go, "Where are we today?" And she'd tell him because she was Kay Hungerford.
Cool. Let's see.
Yeah.
It was
Later in life, I guess she had diabetes or something, and she was not. She would do whatever, you know, whatever she wanted. She lost the lower knees. They, you know, like diabetics sometimes, you know. And she had parts made, whatever. And she was at the playground with I forgot her daughter anyway, and she was higher and higher, and her legs flew off.
Yep.
Yeah, and the kids screamed, and you know.
Well, she had different lower legs, and she would call them all her Barbie feet. Because one was if she was wearing heels, it was a Barbie feet. She was a toughie, but she was not. She was delightful.
And Pete's dad had Huntington's disease, Parkinson's.
Huntington's disease.
Huntington's.
He was a church organist at St. Mark's in Grand Rapids.
Doot doot. You know,
Oh yeah, but he was.
train set in the basement. You know, like that was a thing.
What about songwriting tips? Any? What do you think of when you hear of somebody ask you how to write a song? What do you tell them?
Yeah, right.
Make it good.
Don't think about it too much. Don't suck.
Yeah. See what works.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Again, that's where Al was just. I mean, I don't know. There was a period
no
of
recipe.
life where I think we consider ourselves storytellers.
It's
And-
not a bad, you know, tell a story, tell a joke, you know, it's,
Well, we weren't really interested in playing the popular Doobie Brothers or.
I just no interest in that. No, you know, now I begrudgingly play what people ask me to play. Sometimes it's it's just bam, bam, bam.
But we can.
Yeah, I could. You know,
If you hang around long enough, they just put up with us.
yeah, if you don't go away, you may as well stay. You know, yeah.
Fair enough. What about the 90s? Right before the internet. The peak of civilization.
Oh, yeah. I started working, and I would put an ad, paper, you know, in the commercial record, just a little classified, painting houses. This is before the 90s. And classified. You'd call them. Sometimes you'd write a letter back, and then they respond. Then you'd make an appointment. You'd show up. There's no internet. There's no,
Correspondence.
But we were never angry about the fact that we also worked day jobs.
Yeah.
We were never angry about that.
Yeah. Right.
I was.
Really? Well, where do we go?
90s.
Where do we go with this?
Yeah, the 90s were kind of a blank period for me because that's when I moved from here to Chicago.
Oh yeah.
So I was kind of gone that period of time, and the bands that you and I were in reformed a little bit, as they always did. They kind of
It's a moving
transformed.
target.
I mean, you and I were both in the Bunz, but at different times.
Exactly, and then
And now we're
I didn't
pals.
come
I'm
back
so.
until the reunion type. That
Really?
was that was probably when I came back.
And Al and Tom O'Brien were just a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely.
Yep. He still is. He's
still
still
is.
playing. Yep.
Yes, he is.
We had some horrible drummers during that period. One guy from Baldwin, kind of a milquetoast.
Mr. Slippers.
You'd have to get him there, and he'd tune the drums. He was, well, kind of really crappy, but the bass player at the time, he wasn't a bad bass player, but you'd make choices, kind of live with it, go play a few gigs, and try to do better next time.
That's life.
Yeah.
It is an evolution, though.
And then we, Hans, he was the first.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. He still lives. He won't answer my call.
Hans in Holland, right?
Yeah.
Hans Vanderhill.
Cheers.
He doesn't take my calls anymore, and that's okay. He was a gifted guitar player. Anyway,
Friendships are can be kind of liquid in a way, and
yeah, I'll drink to liquid.
okay, well there you go. But we just keep coming back like bad pennies, don't we?
Yeah, that corrupted crypto.
Yep. And then you found your way back, what, in the 2000s?
Yeah, when was that? 2000. When did we do the reunion? That was.
I have a shirt, and
Me too.
I can't remember the year. Because it was 40 years, right? Or was it 30?
30, and
30
now
years.
it's pushing 40.
Yeah. It's more than 40 at this point.
Well, the Bunz was interesting because it started and everybody had other jobs going on, but within a few months we were just, we were playing like all these nights every week. And then when I wasn't there, you guys really pushed it up to the next level and you kicked some butt.
Did our album.
Your album?
Yeah.
It sold well into the
Yeah, they're
hundreds.
collector's items.
My daughter actually found a copy in one of those old used record stores.
That happens.
Yeah.
A few years ago, and
That's a good
and
place
she
for
bought it and gave it to her husband. And I actually at Christmas time he was wearing one of those T-shirts from 10 years ago. It
Wow.
had paint all over it. Used it as a paint shirt. It
Of
was
course,
really
well,
funny.
that seems practical.
Patrick.
Yeah, we need your dulcet
Yeah.
tones.
Oh, we're caught in the 90s, and I don't know what to do with the 90s. That was like my second life.
Be right back.
So let's see, 90s. Graduated 93, so plus 4. So 97 is when I turned 21.
Excellent.
I'd come in and go, Pete knew who I was because I always tried to get in as a kid. And I was
Yeah.
Marie's nephew too. He remembered me.
It's so funny though. It's Uncle Pete. Where after Mr. Nick,
Yeah.
who was one of the owners
I
here,
never met him.
but Pete became Mr. Pete to a lot of people. But you still refer to him as Uncle Pete, and that's great.
I refer to him as Uncle Pete because I'm friends with his nieces and nephews. I'm dating his niece's best friend,
Oh, okay.
who's Danny Mayer and Phyllis Mayer's daughter. Or sorry, Phyllis F.
Jane and Phil.
She ran the Interurban for like the past 30 years.
Oh,
Or 20 or something. I feel bad because I should be working.
You're back and
But there's
forth.
no one fucking here. So.
You're
Yeah.
back and forth. You're doing
yeah,
great.
you're doing fine. You're working. It's a matter of record anyway.
Even if I was working, I'd be working just like this.
Yeah.
Spencer has kept us going chronologically here through the decades, and that's
Yeah.
really strange.
The problem with this thing is going to need some editing, but it's going to be good.
Spencer will
It's
not
going to
edit.
need it.
Yeah, you do whatever you want.
Yeah.
This one finally. Yeah.
How are
This is
the
pretty cool,
robots?
dude.
Yeah, it's fun,
Yeah.
right? The angles are cool.
Oh,
I'm gonna open up the
good.
back door. I'm freaking hot as fuck.
Yeah. I'm starting.
Are you sitting on? Is that hot?
I think so, and it feels great.
I was gonna say you want me to move. You're like, no, it feels great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cold outside.
That one's
Yeah, I
still
need a
good.
break.
This one's good.
Well, let's see. Where did I put my?
We're still here.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
That might be.
Yes, that would be your.
All right. Let's see. We got a camera here. We got a camera there. That one's gone. This one's a good angle though. Well, what am I forgetting to ask? The chronological is just too easy, I guess.
In the 2000s, I know we
I could think about. Well, okay.
attempted to regain our old sparkle once or twice, just in the studio at your house.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the studio.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
please.
That's the first time I saw Hustler.
Really?
They were all Playboys up until then.
Was that a shocking moment?
Yeah, no. It was a relief. It's like, where's this been all this time?
I'm not a purveyor of any. I'm not a role model.
You don't
So
have
good.
to be, but
And the air, what do you call it? The smokeless cigar tray.
Oh yeah. We used to smoke in the studio.
And the leather tray, and the leather seats, and the Mac, the first Apple computer I ever saw
God, yes.
outside of a
I went
school.
to-
and we
So
played a lot
many
of
of them.
golf, but that was like 1990-ish. I think we played golf on whatever old computer you had, and
That
Oh
was
yeah,
so
computer
cool.
golf. Oh,
Yeah.
that was
And
a
a plexiglass
real waste.
window, and then like you walk down into like 2 or 3 steps, right? And it's kind of like a pit almost, right? Something
There
like
was
that.
a computer golf in Grand Rapids.
No,
when
your studio.
Yeah, I couldn't play games in there.
No, the layout. The layout was like a glass window.
Oh yeah.
And a
Oh,
couple
definitely.
steps.
Yeah.
no, he
yeah,
designed it well.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It
Well,
was like an amphitheater almost, wasn't it?
yeah. Well, we started out with this little square shack that I moved, across the highway on a farm trailer. Anyway, and then we kind of used that until I needed more space. It was rehearsal space first, very rustic. Started, I made some money, sold some stuff, and I thought, wow, let's see, got a kid on the way. I better do something while I still have some money. And
Truth be told, yeah, right.
Threw the trusses up, had a lot of good help, and bought out a studio. I was looking in the Chicago Reader, and I saw a studio for sale, lock, stock, barrel. Went down there, I had the studio pretty much done. And then I bought some equipment, and then bought out the whole, whatever he had, not the windows, because we had much better. He was using plexiglass or something. And we had different size glass, different angles, all the reflection was off a little, and super.
So it didn't reverberate directly.
Yeah, and a wall and another wall that didn't touch, all this.
What was funny about that was, but then there were a couple of us that, well, not me. I would always be in the main room, but we
Yeah.
had other people that would prefer to play right there in the
Yeah, why not?
engineering room, and that was the isolation of that. But
Yeah, and then to get to the main room, you went down a couple steps, and that one was all glass
Yeah.
mirrors and marble floor, and we used that as a live room. The door squeaked, you could hear that on some recordings. And into then the main room. Well, it was kind of a transition, where something's on a slab and then something is, But anyway, that was about 20 by 24 with a vaulted ceiling, real insulated. A lot of 11-foot ceiling or something.
you normally played in the control room.
Yeah, I just had a keyboard sitting up. And I had a Hammond out, an old tube Hammond, an L3 for a while, and then added on the south, and AC in a furnace and a kitchenette, water, all that. And the grounding was a big deal back then. Oh my God, you had good, ground rods and all this balanced power, and we started out analog and then morphed into linking up with Cinti time code with, it's like ADATs came in, we had ADAT and tape, which was a real, had this big pre-roll, so you're like, everybody don't call. Link. Now you're on. You push the red button, some people freeze,
And then you had to reset it all up.
Yeah, it was a big hassle. It worked well when it worked, and then we went all, computers, Macs and Pro Tools, and
How many albums do you think you made out of that studio?
Jeez, I had school kids in, polka bands. Never have more than one accordion player in the same room, and a tuba. I think there was some, you know.
Intuitively, I think I already knew that.
Yeah, there are some rule of thumb. One bass player at a time. You know, no two accordions.
One at a time.
Do you remember years ago at the Whatnot, we had that sign up on the wall behind the bass player. It just said one bass player at a time. Thank you.
Yeah.
One cowbell.
Yeah.
One accordion.
If that.
If that. Yeah. That might be, yeah.
But you never know. It's the sound of surprise can happen, and you never know when it's going to hit.
Of course.
I remember we having a grade school class come in. They wanted to, Fran Popowski.
Yeah.
She taught in Covert or something. I forget. South Haven.
South Haven.
Yeah. And
We did kids shows with her.
Oh.
For her.
Yeah.
Come on in. We're just having some fun.
And their class assignment was to draw a little picture or something of the studio and their experience. And on one of those later CDs, we used some of that artwork and the kids' drawings, which were like, you know, a kid's idea of a saxophone player is just like a stick figure with a thing going up like this and notes, you know.
What about your relatives coming in to record at your studio?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Kind of on the spot. It was Christmas time or something. My both my sisters could sight read like bandits. Anyway, and my nephew was in town, and they did some recording, like, you know, Ave Maria, because my nephew was singing opera out west. Now he's retired.
Oh,
in
interesting.
Portland or something. Yeah, that was kind of spooky, but you know, family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
But it's hard to know how they reacted to the fact that you had developed all this on your property.
Oh yeah. Well, it was incremental. Underneath there was a mass of wires and splices. And when something went wrong, it might take me a week to figure out. Maybe it was just destined to just clip a wire and run a new one.
But for family, when they just walk in, and if everything is working great, it's like, you're amazing.
I did not invite family over because I was busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happens.
Busy, and sometimes you have to stop and explain things to family, and that gets kind of murky.
Yeah. My oldest brother recorded when I was, you know, real small. He had a rack that was about 6 feet tall, reel to reel, cutting lathe. He could cut a vinyl record.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I have some copies. He did my father's male chorus. Yeah, they had that group of and turned into like the Holland Chorale or something.
Oh, cool.
I was going to say, and your father's chorus basically did what?
Oh, religious stuff.
Religious stuff.
The Magna chords.
Oh.
Magna. Not, yeah, and
But as I remember, didn't it kind of trigger your dad to go, well, maybe we could do something different here next time outside of the religious?
oh yeah, well, he was always, you know, kind of did funerals, weddings, churches. You know, I've been to every GD church and, you know, all over, you know, here.
Well, the Wieners were known as church singers.
Yeah, and organist. My Uncle Bob was a crackerjack. He could play anything. He just winged Mozart, if you know what. Sounds like Mozart. Yeah, I guess so. Whatever. Yeah.
Incredible.
And then out of that, you came along as kind of a blues singer of sorts, and
I was corrupted by WLAC, which is an AM station out of Nashville.
Hey,
And,
there we go.
Yeah, at night you could get AM radio, and it was blues and
All the way
gospel.
from Nashville?
Yeah,
Cool.
AM. Yep, and I'd come down to
Who told you about the numbers? Did you just find it?
Yeah, you just
find
tune
it.
around.
Just find
like,
it.
You had family, we were ham operators. We had a lot of radios and shit around. Yeah. And my oldest brother was a DJ for a little bit in a religious station. He'll never hear this, so it doesn't matter.
But there was a time where, when I was still, well, when I was beginning to make music with you, where it was like, oh, I have this group of guys together that are playing music, and you were just such an effortless singer. You were winging it. I know.
Yeah, I grew up. My dad would just like do
Your ear
vocal
was
warm-ups
great.
driving around, you know.
Soaks in.
It must have.
But it was just such a wonderful thing all of a sudden to be playing with you, because it was effortless to you. You had a good ear. You could hear things. Your tone was great.
Well, I can still hear some, you know, still hear quite a bit. I hear more than I need to a lot of the time.
I think from piano tuning, I think your
Yeah.
sense of pitch has even gotten more acute.
Yeah, it's the only thing cute about me.
He was talking about the mirrors in the studio. It's not like we spent an awful lot of time looking at mirrors in the
They
studio.
were you know, leftovers from Herman Miller or something they were going to throw out. And stuck them to the wall. It made it nice. I didn't have to, you know,
Upcycle.
Yeah, right. Just
You put the paneling in here in the sandbar,
some
didn't
of
you?
this. No, I gave it away. It was laying in a pile, and a friend of mine was looking for some lumber, and this was laying in my yard. And so I forgot his name. He was a great guy, very meticulous.
We're just having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just
Howdy.
Nah, yeah.
Exactly.
I
That's
don't know.
exactly what's happening.
We're drinking some and talking more than we should.
Well, I am, but
It
you're
gets
reformed
going.
now, so it's
Oh, we're just,
well for the moment.
It's all good. I can move that, I suppose.
We've had a pretty wild time around the edges of our constructing lives, haven't we?
I don't know if it's wild or misguided.
Well, I'm not going to choose one or the other.
Misguided youth. Oh, your phone is ringing. I'm waiting for mine to.
Maybe this is a natural segue.
It's your your pseudo grandson.
Should we answer? Say hello. Speakerphone. You want to put him
My
on
son.
speakerphone?
Yeah, Emmett.
No? Sure. All right.
He wouldn't. It wouldn't be his cup of tea.
I see.
Yeah.
No, but he's aware of this fact that he knows he's the pseudo grandson of Al, so it's.
An honorary title.
But he holds it proudly. You guys have hung in there.
What's the key to being a good role model?
I have no idea.
That's probably a good answer.
Trying to be as genuine as you can. I think I can't speak for Al.
Yeah.
I'd like to say that the jukebox here should go into the Historical Society.
That's a good point.
And as well as the other ephemera on the walls, the Historical Society would benefit greatly for the
You're right.
media in that marvelous machine that holds so much memories for, you know, James Reeser, take your head. He's in
James
there,
Reeser.
yeah, and Dick Reynolds is still here, amazing guy. If you had time, I can tell one Dick Reynolds joke. The difference between, it's a musical joke, so not, you know, it's musical. It's the difference between a Baroque trumpet player and a seamstress. A Baroque trumpet player tucks up the frills.
Oh! Yes. I just know when I was young.
You know, it's a
Obscure.
narrow kind of a humor.
I mean, I already knew Bill, and when he told me that he and Irene were going to buy the Sandbar, I was still young, and my original question was, "You're kidding."
Who did he buy it from? Did we already cover that?
Sandbar
At the
Bill.
very beginning,
Yeah,
yeah,
there was another
Sandbar
Bill.
Bill. Yeah, another Bill.
Sandbar Bill.
He had the the knows more about that subject than I do.
We got to find another Bill.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently, but
They're in short supply.
Yeah.
It's.
It could be like the great Dread Pirate Robinson. You know, it doesn't actually have to be a Bill, but then they would have to be Bill from then on out.
I believe so.
They'd
I'm going
have
to
to
agree with you
assume
on
the
this.
title and be okay with being called Bill.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and Wild Bill if they're doing it right.
Yeah.
I mean, I was still a high school kid, but all of a sudden he's here, and I would come in here with Josh Wynn, and the three of us would play pool. They taught me to play a decent game of pool back then. I can't do
Here
that
at the
anymore.
Sandbar.
I can't
Oh, yeah.
do that.
It's
I
beautiful
never could.
place.
They
for
were
that.
such soft shots, soft but deadly shots, and
And
That's how you get deadly.
Yeah. The late R.J.
Peterson.
was- oh my.
He
God.
loved pool.
He was deadly. He was the best pool player. Yeah, and you didn't want to play with him. He's
Take
a
your
real
money.
character.
I
Yeah, and a genuine icon of the Saugatuck area.
Right.
Some people he was always good to me.
Polarizing individual from the
Yeah.
sounds of it.
Very non-judgmental.
Do you remember when Roy Watson had Sirocco down at the corner down here?
No.
Oh, okay. It was just a little sidewalk cafe kind of thing, and he was a chef, but it was he kind of attracted the freer spirits of some people my parents' age, and they would come down here and sit at the very tip of the corner and watch the traffic go by, and Roy Watson, if they brought tipples with them,
Tipples.
or if he had them, so they could tipple while they sat at the very
That's a,
corner down here
Do you
by
know
the
what
stop.
a tipple is? Because I'm
Tippler,
going to
a
ask.
tippler.
Oh, okay.
But it's such an interesting neighborhood, and I mean,
the old.
growing up
old
around here,
ladies,
it just was. It was just such an interesting neighborhood, and that's why I was just waiting for Patrick's take on his aunt, and
Oh, his aunt Jean was.
I think he wants your take on his aunt.
I'm sure we'll talk about this some more because I remember her so well. Like I said,
She was in with.
Marie was
No, I
interesting.
think Jean was.
Oh, he was Tom's kid, Tom's aunts.
Yeah, Tom's aunt was betrothed to Durwood Kirby.
Really?
Oh, the Kirby?
Durwood Kirby was on some ancient.
Well, he was a game show host.
Yeah. Durwood and Galveston or somewhere they would winter.
Oh,
Plus,
cool.
what a great name.
Yeah. No, I don't know any Durwoods.
No,
I don't either.
No. It's like, sounds like a good cigar.
Could be. Could be. Yeah. Anyway, they had London shop. They had a little intercom. They could hardwired to this place.
And the London shop was just a couple doors down, which was primarily a women's clothing store.
What was?
The London shop.
The London
Our
shop.
friend Tom Edgecombe's aunts had that.
Yeah.
Jean and
Yeah.
oh, so sorry, Auntie.
Yeah. And Tom's father worked for Evel Knievel for a long time.
Oh, wow. Doing the stunts and stuff?
No. He was his
Promo?
skipper on his yacht.
Whoa.
So when he passed, they had to get rid of all the, he had the evil suits and whatever.
And there was also at the very end, at the very corner here by the stoplight, he had a Shell gas station right down here in
Yeah.
Saugatuck.
Inside,
ran
you
that
mean
for
Douglas
years.
or Saugatuck?
Saugatuck.
yeah.
Oh, right.
It's right down here by the stoplight.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did Evel Knievel bring his boat over here then?
No, I believe in Florida.
Florida.
I think that's why they did that.
And, what was,
He was one of the most famous people I ever knew growing up. That was one of the most.
Morgan Buzz Edgecombe.
Yeah.
Morgan
And B,
Buzz.
Yeah. B was Tom's mother's nickname.
Buzz.
Buzz, yeah, okay.
Buzz.
Yeah, and Tommy, I think, he was the only guy I knew that was in Cuba pre-Castro.
Oh, wow.
When he was a little kid or something.
How do you get there, do you think?
on the boat.
On the boat, of course. Yeah,
And
sure. That makes sense.
Tommy's grandfather was the captain of the North and South American at points.
Wow.
So, oh shit, there's my phone.
Oh, you got a phone call too.
Yeah.
Let's see who's got your number.
Beverly Hills.
Oh my!
Somebody in
Better
Beverly-
pick it up. Let's see what they want.
Yeah. Hello.
Put it on speaker.
Hey. What can I do for you?
This is Anthem Blue Cross.
Oh shit, it's my healthcare.
That's so disappointing, Spencer.
Yeah, Jesus. It's my healthcare
Plastic
provider.
surgeon.
They want a survey. Yeah.
We want to know. Yeah, well, that's how you pick it up. They're smart
Yeah.
over there.
Although my son will be very happy that he called while I was doing this with his friend Al,
Oh.
and I didn't pick up. He'll go, "Thanks, Dad."
Hey, but you didn't pick up.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
No, he and my son have their own thing.
That's cool.
And
It's gone on for a long time, and I love it.
That's great. Very wholesome.
Have we worked ourselves up to today?
Yeah, let's talk about today. How's it going, everybody? What is it? Almost the 15th, the 13th of November,
yeah,
2024.
Wednesday the 13th, I think.
Wednesday, the 13th of November, 2024. I won't say what happened, but I'm sure that everybody can piece it together. We just had an election. And
Yeah, it didn't go everybody's way.
Yeah, there's a lot of polarizing opinions.
We're ready for some polarization to go
Yeah.
on, but at the
Well,
moment, I'm so glad to be here with you, Spencer and Al.
What would you
and
two
Scott.
wise gentlemen say to the people of today? You know, where they got a little bit of. What would you give advice? What do you think to do? What's the advice of the?
Don't be fooled by the pigs and the egg-sucking dogs.
Yeah,
trust 'em.
disinformation is something you're going to have to deal with.
Yeah, it's getting even.
You better trust your eyes because that's about the only thing you can trust.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
Ooh, I hope we can do this a year from now, and you ask that same question.
Check back in. I agree.
We're only
Because a
one
year from
really
now will
bad
tell a lot, won't it?
cheeseburger away from having a holiday.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that music has always been
It's a release.
a way to unify people in tough times.
Mhm.
It sounds like the parties that you're describing were also when there was the most turmoil. The biggest parties are from the biggest turmoil. It kind of seems
Yeah.
like.
I hope this is the bottom.
If you can keep from being polarized, attempting to still share music with people, it can be a conversation starter in its own. But it's very hard at the moment.
I was talking to somebody about this the other day about how songs, the lyrics in songs can put words to emotions, and how sometimes it's hard to put words to emotions, but lyrics oftentimes, for me anyway, have. And it sometimes emotions can be difficult to process until you find words for them.
It helps to talk out a problem.
Or hear somebody else that's talked it out
And
kind
to
of
talk
vicariously.
to somebody and not at somebody.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
them, hopefully.
And listen, I don't have a lot of advice on.
Well, let me be
don't.
more specific. For songwriters and musicians that are on the come up of, this is what they want to do, what kind of advice would you give them in a time like this?
Cheer up. It can get better. Maybe it can get worse. Don't hope it gets any worse than it is. Yeah, I don't know.
Stick with it?
Yeah, stick with it. Try to find something that makes you happy and do it. Money isn't everything.
Yeah.
Look where it gets people.
We've had some real adventures without having money, haven't we?
Yeah, it doesn't do you any good.
At
once
home and
you-
on the road, we've had some adventures.
Yep. Yeah.
It's more trouble than good. Well, what about money and music? What do you think
Where
about?
is it? I don't know.
What do you think about when you hear that?
They're not associated anymore. They've been disassociated in the digital world. They've separated money from. Anyway,
Seems like it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not
Right when
pessimist-
streaming kicked in, money went away, I think, right?
pretty much.
But we let more famous noteworthy people handle that on the internet and the sites that just said, this is messed up, and these are people that are at a different level than we've ever been, influence-wise.
And yeah.
You mean the really famous people basically sold out the music industry? Is that what you?
No, the
No.
people that
To make the money.
I watched some people on, well, I guess what was Twitter. I watched some amazing, I've never had an account, but I know when COVID was going on, I watched some very unlikely people become friends
Oh,
on social media. And they may have been people I agreed with anyways, but they became friends. And then I watched how their friendship developed to the case of where one person's on the East Coast, one person's on the West Coast. And then when they were able to tour again, they were buddies, and they would go, come play on my show on the West Coast when you're there. It was fascinating to me. But they were people that were very real to me. Money, I don't know. It's gone stagnant for musicians, but it's hard to make that the prerequisite.
yeah, you got yeah.
If that's your only.
Do it anyway.
Yeah, well, if that's your only thing that's you play music for, you've missed the point.
Right.
You may as well go sell cars or something.
Well, when we had friends that were traveling to gigs, it was mostly like I have to give them something to cover their expenses. But hopefully, once you're there, the most beautiful thing is to just go, we're here and we're having a pleasant experience with each other.
And you're not thinking about something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the middle of a job, if you're not thinking about something else, that's huge, isn't it?
I think if you can define happiness, it's the absence of worry. I don't know. Worry is being sorry for something you didn't do.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, look at you and me after 50 years, and ups and downs and sideways. We're sitting here and we just have this somewhat undying respect for each other, just as pals.
Yeah.
And I-
It
and
makes
I-
better friends, and you know,
Oh, it's so important,
it's kind of like yeah.
because not everybody's going to be a friend, and we're to the age now that we really don't care if everybody's
No.
our friend. I care if you're my friend.
Yeah, I don't want to make too many more friends.
It takes a lot of audio.
Yeah.
But I love sitting here with you, just shooting it.
And Patrick, who's
And Patrick, who's
He's busy now.
he's a newer friend, but I just go, he talks, and I just come up with all kinds of questions I want to ask him.
Really? Well, maybe we can trade. Patrick, can I 10 bar and you do the?
no, I'm wore out. My
We're getting
jaw-
tired
Alright.
of talking.
You want to
Well,
wrap it up?
you can always.
Tell one more story. Tell them when you went to Woodstock.
Woodstock.
Oh,
yeah, the
geez.
greatest misadventure.
Yeah, I think I was out of high school, sorta, and the three of us decided, oh, yeah, sure, I'll go to Woodstock. So a Volkswagen van, it was whatever. That was the thing, and so. Oh, hey, Woodstock, yeah, great idea. I said, I'll hop in. I had a Fu Manchu mustache. Or
Sounds quaint.
yeah, where's now my sister lives there, but anyway, yeah, 1969. Jeez, I was just a baby. Anyway, we take off, and marijuana was illegal back then. Yeah, now it's recreational.
Yeah.
They decided better hide the pot they hid it in the heater.
Oh,
And
that's not where you heat. That's not where you hide weed.
not in a sandwich bag. So we're putting along. The heat's comfortable. We go through the border, and there's ground up pot blowing out of the defrosters.
A green snowstorm.
And it was not mine. I was just not, anyway. So I spent a weekend in New York, and my father was not proud of me at all. But he bailed me out, as that's what fathers are for, to get you out of jail if you need that. And anyway, he got me a great lawyer and paid more than he could afford. Yeah, he was not happy. He never held it against me. He never mentioned it. But
Almost made it to Woodstock.
yeah, almost. Yeah, missed that.
My misgiving.
And then one of the guys, I moved as far away from, far away west as he could. I lived on the docks or something, and it got, And his father was sold to explosives. So downtown Holland, they lived, with a garage full of, dynamite and stuff.
Oh, I know. Let's leave on a win.
Yeah.
Didn't you win the Battle of the Bands one year?
Scott and I.
Scott and Al, they were in the band then.
Battle of Bands?
Yeah.
Yeah. If we're gonna wrap it up, we're gonna wrap it up on a win.
Yeah.
Here.
Okay, please come back.
Yep.
Hold this.
I'm so entertained.
Oh,
Yes, you are.
No, you guys.
Oh, go ahead.
You nailed
The
it.
Bunz.
Yeah.
Al,
What radio station was it?
LAV?
LAB?
I think so.
Or was it GRD?
I
Maybe
can't
GRD.
I think it might
We
have
got
been
this
GRD.
massive gift certificate
Yeah.
for, was it drum stuff or something?
I
Yeah.
can't remember.
In Grand Rapids, what year was it? Do you remember?
I hadn't thought about that.
It was in the 80s sometime.
Yep.
How did it feel going up against these other wannabe bands?
Oh, spandex.
Well,
wow, that was.
we were. I mean, we just do it for fun.
Yeah.
The whole we
Well, you were
always have
working
played
hard.
because
You were working hard
we
doing
always
it.
played because we were having a blast. I mean, that was the difference between us and I think a lot of people that were playing on a stage. Is
took
that
it
the audience realized that, geez, these guys are just screwing around.
They don't care.
They don't know what they're playing. They don't know what they're playing, but it sounds pretty good.
We played satirical stuff and whatever.
Well, it made me
Inappropriate.
happy, and I wasn't in the band at that time.
Yeah, but some of the guys, the grunge rock, spandex, leopard pants, and all that crap.
They were working hard and making a lot of effort.
Yep. Sweat was flying, and
And you were coming out in crew neck sweaters going, la la.
I can't remember setting up or tearing down.
No,
I think they had all that crap ready for us. Or something.
You were working guys, man. You got it going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think the funnest one that we ever did was our 40-year or 30-year reunion. That was really, really
We
fun.
actually rehearsed for
That was the
a
first
little-
time we
I had to-
actually.
I had to learn the stuff I wrote.
Relearn it.
Yeah, I had never. They'd ask, the stuff on your album. Nah, we're just gonna play what we play.
Yeah, Ted would be mad because he'd be like, "Well, Al, it goes like this, and you wrote the song."
Yeah, I don't remember how I played it. Yeah.
But Teddy knows stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
He's a smart man.
He sat in once a couple of years ago. I had this throw together band that played in this remote event space, and he played one night, and I couldn't get him back because we didn't ever rehearse. It just some people can't. It makes them nervous.
Yeah, the spontaneity.
Teddy Bosch is just a great drummer.
Yeah, and a great singer. Yeah, he'd chew tobacco and sing James Brown. Yep, and I still consider him and his wife, lovely wife.
Ever have to hitchhike to a gig?
Probably.
You guys ever hitchhike to a gig?
Hitchhike. No, I don't think
we'll
so.
cut that
No, but
question.
we drove to a lot of them in earlier years where we camped.
Oh yeah.
We weren't making enough money to actually stay anywhere. We would
No.
camp in campgrounds.
Yep.
Sounds even more fun, honestly.
Later, once we did.
Oh yeah, with wives and children. And
Oh yeah.
Sounds like the best.
I didn't bring mine.
Yeah, you might have.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
That was
They could have been there.
children.
You were
We had other
having too
people's
much
children.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Richard Beale on the bass, which was kind of like having another child in those days.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I remember once he broke out in hives.
Yes, we had to find the boondoggle of calamine lotion, and
I remember playing, but I just remember he was not doing well.
no sensitive skin.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna cut that question out. It was a dead one. It didn't.
Oh yeah. And let's see, James Reeser, take your hats off. Sandbar.
Miss you, Jimmy.
Yep. Good guy, super guy.
All right. Well, that's a wrap. Thanks
All
for joining us. Any closing? All right.
Let's just be kind to each other.
Yeah, we did it.
Let's just be kind to each other.
All right.
Damn.
No one was here.